So I have some pretty big news to share with you, and what better time than the 5th year anniversary of Bloons TD6. Well, back in 2014, I met my wife. She wasn't quite my wife yet, but we were friends for a couple of years, and then sometime in 2016, we started dating, which is around the same time that I started playing on this channel, actually. I started doing some BTD battles and some Bloons TD5 videos, not yet into the Bloons TD6 because it hadn't been released yet. Fast forward a couple years into 2018, June 14th, 2018 to be exact, and that's when Bloons came out, but funnily enough, that is the exact date that me and my wife were married down here in Southern California. So it's kind of a meant to be thing that I play this game because of the same day we were married that it came out. I think Ninja Kiwi knew, and they did it on purpose, which is awesome. Thank you, Ninja Kiwi. But now it is 5 years past. It is now 2023. It's been the 5th year anniversary of Bloons TD6 and the 5th year anniversary of mine and my wife's marriage, which is really, really awesome. Now, most people have kids kind of like right out the gate when they're get married, or a lot of people I know that happens to, right? Or they even have the kids and then get married, whatever it may be. But we decided, let's wait a little bit. Let's get our finances in straight. Let's figure out what we want to do with our lives, because at the time she was working to become a teacher. She was getting her degree. And then I was, oddly enough, getting my degree, which I ended up getting in marketing because I thought maybe it'll help in real estate, because that's my day job. I sell real estate. It didn't. It was a big waste of time and money. So college isn't always the best, guys, just to let you know. So anyways, I became a real estate broker, and I started hitting the ground hard because I was like, I need to make us money because I'm married now and I need to take care of my wife. And then she became a teacher and started doing the whole teaching thing, which she loved and she's still doing today. And at that point, we looked at ourselves and we said, okay, it's been a couple years. We seem to be doing pretty good. Should we have kids yet? And we said, no, let's wait a little bit longer because we want to be ready. But with certain life things, as you'll find out, you're never quite ready. You think you're ready, and then all of a sudden something happens and you're not ready. So I was like, just give it some more time. You know what's going to happen is, I'm going to hit it big in real estate. Or at this point, I had no intentions of YouTube ever working out for me, just because at that point I was just making strategies. I was starting off with, hey guys, the Bloon here, and today's another BTD6 video. And I'd only get like a few hundred and maybe 1,000 views on a couple of videos, but it was just fun to do in my spare time. So my only focus was real estate. And what I really wanted to do was flip homes. I wanted to be like on TV, Chip and Joanna Gaines. That's what we really wanted to do. But I needed to work up a bankroll and a networking of people. And so I just kept doing real estate, selling to people, helping people buy, things like that. Well, my wife just kind of solidified her spot more as a teacher, because at the time she was kind of bouncing around, because when you're a new teacher, you're not really locked in just yet. You kind of sub for a little bit and then you move around to a different place, and then they don't have enough spots, so you move around to a different place. And I wanted to make sure that I was good, because with real estate, you're doing great, right? Like, it's feast or famine in this business. You literally are like, one day you're on top of the world, you make the most money you've ever seen, and then the next 3 months you're completely dry and don't make anything. And it's very, very stressful sometimes. So with that, I was like, okay, let's hold on. Let's not do this just yet. And she agreed with me. She's like, I'm not really ready for that. We need to be more ready, more ready. So fast forward 2021, after this whole crazy pandemic thing, we got our first flip house, which means we bought a house for very, very cheap that was completely beat up. And then we put some money into it, fixed it up, and sold it for more. And we were hooked. We're like, this is awesome, because we had the resources as far as like our family had been in this type of business. We got to learn from our mentors and not just run into it deep like you hear a lot about on TV, where people just kind of think it's like a TV show. It is definitely not. And so we had a lot of training, a lot of help, and it was awesome. So now we're on, I think, like number 7. We've been doing this for a while. I still sell a little bit here. The YouTube channel actually took off to where it actually helps pay the bills, which is awesome. And my wife's a permanent teacher in this one school that she really, really likes. And we're like, okay, well, now we should be ready. Like, we're like 4 years into this whole marriage thing. We should be totally ready to have some kids. Well, apparently it's not as easy as you think, because it took us another year. But to get to the whole point of this whole story and why I'm throwing all this out there is that we found out 4 months ago, I believe it's 4 months ago, that my wife is pregnant and we are having a little baby Bloon. And I am more stoked than anything, because I'm a goofy goofball, as you guys can tell on this channel. And I get to share that with a youngster and show, can't tell you the gender yet, show them how crazy and goofy life can be. And I am so beyond excited, and my wife is too. And I just wanted to share this little piece of information with you. I will let you know the gender by the end of this video, but you got to stay tuned for more of my ranting and craziness, because I am just beyond stoked. We've been doing it all. We've been going through the full rounds. We're looking up different baby names. We've been looking up different things that you got to do. And we've even signed up for classes because we're those types of people who are like, we need to know everything. The same way we waited so long, we're like, we need to know everything. So I just wanted to hear from you guys and what you guys thought about all of life and having kids and all that stuff. And I would like to know if my audience has kids themselves, or is most of my audience younger, because this game's kind of a young game. I would say that, but then at the same time, I'm in my 30s and I still play this monkey game. So I assume a lot of you out there probably have kids and you're watching this video with your kids, or you play the game with your kids, which I'm actually really excited to show this part of my life to my future kid and say, hey, you have a legacy here. You gotta play balloons. And the kid's gonna be like, no, I want to be a doctor. And I'm gonna be like, no, you're a monkey popper. No, you're a balloon popper. And that's the last we're gonna hear of this. And just the whole thing's got me so excited and super scared too. And the reason I say scared is because, you know, when you're thinking about it and you first hear that you're pregnant, you're like, oh, you know, it's not that big of a deal. Everybody does this. But then as the time kind of wears down and you go and see the ultrasounds and you more people tell you this, more people tell you that, you hear more stories, you're kind of like, oh my gosh, we would have never been ready regardless. And I'm not even talking financials. I'm just talking like state of mind. Like, we don't have routines. We don't. I literally wake up when I feel like it, because I've never had like a normal, well, that's a lie. I actually did have a normal job when I worked with my wife when we first met, but I've never really had like a normal job. Like real estate, it's random hours. Sometimes I'm working super late into the night if a deal's going through like that. And then especially when we flip homes, I'm literally there all night. I could be there all day. I could not be there for a week. I could be there for a month. You never know. And especially with monkeys and popping balloons on YouTube, it's whenever I feel like it. It's all self-employed, self-derived determination, whatever words you want to use. And so I have zero schedule. My schedule is bonkers. She has a more set in stone one because she's a teacher. She has to be there at a certain time. So she's a little bit more ready for it. But all I keep hearing is like, you're going to have a schedule with the baby, because I think it'll keep you up all night if you don't, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, are you sure though? Are you sure? I feel like I can handle this. But you never know. And now I found myself in this weird predicament where I feel like I'm going to have a rude awakening and I need to change up my entire lifestyle to be ready for a baby. And I'm just going to drop it right now. The thing that I'm most worried about is that I found out it's going to be a baby girl. I thought for sure, I was 100% that it was going to be a boy. I'm the first kid and boy in my family. My dad was the firstborn and also a boy. My mother's side had a boy first. My wife's whole family had boys first. So I thought for sure that's the route we're going to be taking. And then I find out it's a girl. And at first I was like, okay, it's a boy. I can raise him how I was raised, just kind of rough and tough, whatever. You do whatever you got to do. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a girl. It's a girl. And me being raised how I was raised and all the thoughts that I've had, I'm like, oh no, now I have to treat her like a little baby princess and nothing can ever hurt her. And I got to make sure that she has everything she's ever wanted. And we got to live in a mansion. She has to drive a Range Rover, and just this whole craziness went into my head. And I'm like, what am I going to do with this? But regardless of the millions of things that are running through my head and the scary possibilities and the good possibilities, I'm more than excited. Like, that's my best feeling, would be excited for the whole journey and the process, because me and my wife have been, I guess, secretly waiting for this the whole time. Like, we pushed it off, but at the same time, once we finally found out it's for real, we're kind of like, okay, like, we needed this, because we have been together by ourselves for so long, and we've always knew we were going to have kids. We just didn't know when. And now that it's like on its way, we're like, okay, I think we waited too long, because we needed to add more additions. Like, we have 2 dogs that have been treated like humans, like they have the best life. And I know everybody does that with their dogs, but it's kind of weird in a way, right? Like, my dogs are like my babies. And if someone mentions a story about their kid, you know, you think like, oh, my dog did this the other day. And you're like, your dog is not a kid, but you treat it like one. And then we got a bunny, little Holland Lop, cutest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. I'm sure it's cuter than any baby out there. Prove me wrong. But I'm like, it's still a bunny at the end of the day. And you got to take care of these things until they're not there anymore. At least with kids, at one point, they become self-sufficient, or at least they're supposed to, right? I was a little late starter myself. But I'm super excited for this journey. I can't wait to show you guys more of it, so stick around for that. Different content than what you're used to. I just thought we'd play some balloons in the background and enjoy a little story time. And I have more stories waiting to come if you guys are enjoying this. I don't have a name just yet. We're kind of deciding on what name we want it to have. And I think a really cool name is Jasey, like Jasey. I think it's a super cool name. Let me know what you think. And Baby Bloon will be here in Christmas of 2023.